Hello, everyone. Oh, there I am. Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. My gosh, why is it only Wednesday? But it's around this time, Wednesdays at 1:30 p.m. Eastern, that I typically come to you with our Event Hustler Show podcast. Today is a whole new spin on things. You guys have probably seen our virtual showcase before. It's a great way for us to share different tools that we are finding that I think you will love for your events, whether they are virtual, hybrid, in person. I know the event planners and all of us are trying to figure all of that out as our clients are constantly changing their minds. Does that ever happen to you? Well, thank you for joining us. We are going to dive right in just a second. But before we do, just a few reminders. For those of you, most of the people who are watching today, I'm sure will be joining on one of our Facebook channels. So if you're watching on Facebook, please do go to streamyard.com/Facebook and just click the one little button to give us access to see your picture and your name. Otherwise, all your comments will come up as Facebook user and I won't be able to see your beautiful faces. So please do that. Take a few seconds just to do that. It's literally the click of one button. And let us know that you're here. Put a little message in the chat wherever you're watching, whether we are streaming on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. So wherever you're watching, let us know that you're watching. And please take a second to share. This is just a free showcase that we put together for the industry to learn about different tools. Today, we're going to cover 4 really interesting things, definitely outside the box. We're not looking at just a virtual platform with an agenda. We're looking at some really cool stuff today. So please take a second, hit that share button wherever you are. If you're in one of our private groups, you can go find the thread on LinkedIn or something and share it there as well. All right. The other thing I want to mention is we've done kind of a soft launch of this brand new community that we have that we just launched called the techsytalk Collaborative. Now, many of you are watching this from our techsytalk community. We have the Event Hustlers group on LinkedIn. We have these audiences all over, these communities that we've been building for years. But this is kind of the new one that's focused specifically on event planners. We have some really interesting weekly and monthly content coming up. So please do check it out. You can go to techsytalk.com/member. There is a free membership, so make sure that you check it out and join. Okay, that's all my self-promotional stuff. Now it's time to dive in. This virtual showcase, as I mentioned, is really just a great opportunity for us to show you companies that we think are doing really interesting things. And the format of this is that we will introduce our speaker. They will come on and share with you for just about 8 minutes what the product is, why they are better than the competition, and what are some of the best use cases. So those are the 3 questions that we've asked them to kind of identify. These are some of the things they don't get to talk about too often, like why are they better than the competition? They put out tons of thought leadership content. They're always like trying to make the case why they're better, but now we just get to hear directly from them. So they're going to talk for just about 8 minutes about those kinds of things. And then I'm going to pop back on. You'll see my face here and I'm going to curate my questions, a few questions for them that I have, and I would love to curate any questions that you guys have. So as you're watching, if you have any questions, put them in the chat wherever you're watching. We'll see it all come in here. So let's kick it off. Let me not slow this down anymore. Katrina from EVENTMOBI, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me. Super excited.
Yeah, so I know EVENTMOBI is not a new product. You guys are not one of those that like burst out during the pandemic. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but you have some really, really exciting things that you've been working on. We want to make sure you have time to tell people. I'm talking super fast, but we don't really have to talk that fast.
I'm a fast talker too. So.
I'm like,
espresso, so we'll see how this goes.
I switched to water, but I'm still very hyper right now. So I'm going to hand it to you. I know you have a few slides put together and you want to show people a little bit about the EVENTMOBI platform. And then I'll come back up and curate any questions that we might have from our audience. And I always have questions. That's just who I am by nature. All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Katrina Franzoy. I'm the marketing events planner at EVENTMOBI. And for those of you joining us, if you're specifically on Facebook right now, my colleagues Tyler and Blythe are also in the chat and will be helping to answer any questions that might come up along the way through my presentation. So first of all, Liz, I think whether you knew it at the time you chose this date or not, it's a great time to have a virtual showcase because isn't there another shift happening in the industry right now? There are so many things changing and it's hard to know what the best next step is. While some of us are ready to go back fully in person, others plan to continue with a virtual program, and many of us are looking at how we can reach both audiences and reach them effectively. So even though I'd love to talk your ear off about everything our product can do, and it can do a lot, this presentation is really about you, the planner, who is again facing the challenge of what now? But this time it's more, well, what event format is right for my audience? You need to choose the right way to reach your attendees while also making sure you're not limiting yourself in the process. So if you're going back to in-person, you'll need a reliable event app. Maybe you're thinking about sticking to virtual, but do you really want to limit yourself to a provider that facilitates virtual only? And then when it comes to hybrid, I think the real holdup, maybe not a holdup, but I think there's a few main challenges anyways, but one of them is that it might just seem too complicated. So let me know right now in the chat, does this ring true for you? Are you having all of these kind of thoughts and questions in your own mind from your clients? I'm sure some of you can definitely relate. So working with a flexible platform that lets you easily adapt your events format is critical right now. If you're planning to go back in person, there are obvious benefits to adding some kind of remote connectivity. It automatically extends your reach, and it also gives you a built-in backup plan if you have to switch courses. Fingers crossed, hopefully we don't anymore though. So whether you're looking at it as a safety net or a way to up your game and engage your audience year round, it just makes sense to choose event tech that covers all of the different platforms in one easy setup. So let's talk about how we solve your problems, and we accomplish this by splitting up your experience into two main categories. One, experience for your attendees, and two, experience for you as a planner. Next slide, please. So experience for the attendees. It's super easy for them to navigate, and everything they need is in one place. In your event space, attendees can update their profiles, access all live stream and video content, save documents, make notes about a session they had just watched, and network with other attendees, speakers, and sponsors via live session chat, there we are, group discussions, one-to-one messaging, interactive breakout rooms, and one-to-one video meetings right inside the platform. Next slide, please. So for the experience for the planner, it's so easy for you to put together. And this is something that I can speak firsthand to, because before I joined EVENTMOBI, I used to be a client of EVENTMOBI. And I'm sure like some of you might be able to relate. I didn't have a lot of resources. I didn't have a big team, but I had to pump out a lot of events. Like seriously, in the matter of like less than 2 months, I had 12 events to put on all across Canada. So trust me when I say you don't need to be a software engineer to put together an amazing event with EVENTMOBI. You can go ahead and show those points, Liz. So the Experience Manager is super user-friendly, where you can build and manage your event space. So you can kind of get a little glimpse of it on the slide here. We can build and manage your event space and using tools like the homepage designer, and you can measure your ROI with advanced analytics. So if you have a small team like I once did, EVENTMOBI had the best, and still does, the best support in the business, including a full service virtual event production team. They can help you build your show flow, build your event space, and create broadcast quality content so you won't need to work with yet another service provider. Next slide, please. So the best thing about EVENTMOBI is that it is an all-in-one system that offers you flexibility when planning your events. While you're building your in-person event app, you're simultaneously building your virtual event space and vice versa. So this means if you need to make last-minute changes to your event format, it's easy to pivot and it's easy to make those changes. You don't have to go in two separate spots to do it. It's all in one, and that also saves you time. So you don't have to build out your event app and then go in and build out your virtual event space. You're doing it all in one. And if you're running a strictly in-person meeting, you can use your virtual event space as an evergreen content library to house your recorded sessions and also facilitate networking year-round. And while there's many ways you can run your hybrid event, from live streaming your in-person sessions to designing entirely separate agendas for your remote attendees with pre-recorded content and simu-live sessions, EVENTMOBI makes it easy to offer both shared and unique experiences for every event attendee type. Next slide, please. And that's because we've been in the biz for over 12 years. The EVENTMOBI platform has powered over 25,000 incredible in-person, virtual, and hybrid events. And we understand how the right event technology helps planners design engaging event experiences. So one of the main aspects that sets EVENTMOBI apart from the competition is how customizable the platform is. We have a powerful homepage designer that allows you to fully brand your app and event space. And this tool also makes it incredibly easy to offer your sponsors valuable brand exposure opportunities. We can help you with your event marketing website and registration, or the platform can easily integrate with whichever registration platform you're using. EVENTMOBI has flexible live stream and video capabilities, including interactive breakout rooms that are native to the platform, so you can keep your attendees in the same space for breakout sessions. And unlike many of our competitors, our support and services teams are available to support you every step of the way as you design and deliver your event. We offer a complete range of professional services, including live stream and video production, app and event design, app and event space design, full data management, and live attendee support. Our team can help you build out your app and event space, create your show flow, prep your speakers, manage your virtual green room, edit your recordings, and answer attendee questions, and much more. My gosh, doesn't that sound nice? Next slide, please. I'm a little biased though. All right, so who is EVENTMOBI made for? Well, first, let me tell you who it's not made for. If you are planning a simple webinar or meeting without any branding requirements, we're not the platform for you. The EVENTMOBI platform is incredibly customizable and built to facilitate the most complex event experience design. Event organizers love us because it's easy to build branded single or multi-day, multi-track events with unlimited concurrent sessions and flexible one- and two-way video capabilities. Agencies also love EVENTMOBI because it's easy to create unique experiences for their clients. Associations love us because they can integrate the customized branding that they need without a big time commitment from their staff. And because their event space serves as evergreen content library and also a year-round community hub. Next slide, please. So if you've liked what you've heard so far, please feel free to reach out to sales@eventmobi.com to get more information, a personalized demo, or even a free trial of EVENTMOBI. And for everyone who purchases a package with us by the end of June and mentions they saw us on techsytalk, we'll be able to offer you peace of mind because you'll be able to get access to a very flexible cancellation policy with a full refund should your event get canceled. And that's it for my presentation right now. I guess this is Q&A.
That's amazing. So please I know your team is in the chat, so they should put that in the chat just as a shout out to them so that people will see that now and later. So thank you. I do see we have people watching, so please if you have any questions, please put them in here. I see that Anne is here from Twine. We'll be talking about Twine later, so welcome, welcome. Wendy is here. She didn't see the video right away, but she got it now. And John is here, so please put your questions in the chat. We do see some of them coming in. I wanted to start with a few of my own, though, because I'm selfish. So one of the questions that I had for you was around this flexibility that you talked about. So the hybrid people, as I mentioned at the beginning, planners are, the clients say, let's do in person. Wait, we need to make this some kind of hybrid. How much flexibility is there in terms of the content? I also saw a comment from John who was, well, we're covering your whole slide and face, but just for a second.
I am John right now.
John was responding to Maribel, who had made a comment earlier, but he was talking really about unique virtual content and unique face-to-face content and really mixing up. Not just, it's so nice that the content pushes to both, but is there some flexibility also in terms of, mixing up what you're doing for the face-to-face attendees as compared to virtual?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that probably really comes down to how you as an event planner want to showcase that content, and I guess when as well. The platform, it can do live. We also recommend SimuLive. We can do pre-recorded and have it on demand, and that content can go live like at a particular time as well. So you don't have to be too limited. And I think it really does depend on you as a planner and how you want to space out your content in your event space. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, makes perfect sense. Okay, so we have a question from Wendy. I think you mentioned that EVENTMOBI can handle breakout groups. Can you tell us a little bit more about this?
Yes, for sure. Ooh, and there's the mailman, apparently.
Always happens, right?
And then my dog goes nuts.
2021.
So we have, sorry, what did you say there?
I was just saying 2021, this is what happens.
This is regular life. Yeah, definitely. Yes, we can definitely handle breakout rooms, Wendy. So it's native to the platform. So you don't have to send your attendees off platform. Everything can be handled right then and there. And we can handle up to actually more than 100 breakout rooms with the limit max per breakout room is 100 people max.
And how many of those can be on video?
So on video right now, 12 can be on video, and that's just for usability. Because I mean, if all 100, then your square is like tiny. But everyone else can still participate through audio, and they'll have like a little icon on screen with their initials. And when they speak, the icon kind of glows, so everybody knows like who exactly is speaking.
Perfect. And can you bring people kind of like on and off video so that you can rotate those 12 people?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's a moderation. Oh my gosh, you can set moderators to your breakout room. There we go. And they have access to, and you can lock and unlock rooms as well. So if it's a locked room, somebody will have to like knock before they can enter. As the moderator, you can record the session as well as maximize or highlight some speakers, turn cameras off, turn off microphones as well.
Got it. Awesome. Okay. So we do have a question from Joanne. If you guys have any other questions, we only have like 2 minutes left, so please put them in now. But Joanne would like to know if you guys have a trade show component, and more broadly, I think I'd like to add just general kind of sponsor benefits that we can offer for sponsors.
Yeah, for sure. So our sponsorship capabilities, so we do have sponsor booths, I guess we'll call them, where sponsors can upload a logo, all of their contact information. They can have a CTA, like a call to action button. You can do one-on-one sessions with sponsors if you wanted to set up like a meeting. A sponsor can have a video, a part of their booth. Yeah, so there's a lot of opportunities for sponsorships. And because the platform is so customizable and brandable, you can really offer a lot in terms of like sponsorships as well.
Awesome. Okay. And we do have a Facebook user who's commenting. Welcome, Facebook user. If you guys are watching on Facebook, please go to streamyard.com/Facebook so we could see your name and picture. But someone is wondering about gamification, popular topic these days.
Yes, absolutely. We do. Actually, EVENTMOBI was one of like the first event apps back in the day to offer gamification features and polling in the event app. And that has not changed with the virtual platform as well. So absolutely full gamification features.
That's awesome. Okay, we do have another question from Wendy. She wants to talk security. This is a very big question we are getting from pretty much every planner. Their client is definitely, I mean, every client I think is really interested in security. So what can you tell us about the security of the platform, servers, all of that? How does that work?
Yeah, for sure. And I think Tyler and Blythe will be able to add in a little bit more as well on this particular topic. But security, so I see Wendy here is asking how secure is the platform and our servers in the US? I'm almost like 99% certain that the servers are in the US. And like I said, Tyler and Blythe, help me out here. I'm phoning a friend to fully answer this question for Wendy. Wendy's on Facebook, so you'll probably see her comment there. But I see it all the time with other clients, like security and things like that. I can tell you it's pretty secure, but I don't just have the full details on that.
Yeah, so let's have that's okay. You know, we ask these questions on the fly, so I always prep the speakers like, who knows what's going to come in. That's a really important question though. So if your team can put it in, I'll try to bring it up on screen, or at the very least, we'll make sure to get back to you, Wendy, with some very specific details. One other question I wanted to ask is, I really appreciated in your presentation how you talked about the events that you're not built for as compared to the ones that you are. I think a lot of virtual platforms just try to be everything to everyone, and it makes it really messy.
It's hard to figure out, yeah.
Yeah. One of the other qualifying factors I like to ask is just about pricing structure. Like, how does it work, and what should planners know before they contact you?
Yeah, absolutely. So pricing really comes down to how many attendees you're expecting at your event and how many events you're running per year, because we do offer subscription packages and 365. So if you are an association or somebody that you know you're going to be running multiple events a year, we kind of make it a little bit easier for you that way. And the price comes down depending on how many events you're running in the year. But all of the features of the platform, the advanced analytics, the gamification, the interactive breakout rooms, those are an add-on cost. Those are all included with package costs. The only thing that would be add-on if you need any of the professional services that I mentioned, like the Go Live, our Go Live team, which is They handle all of the green room and the live streaming and things like that. If you need full data management, you can also have access to our event success managers, and their entire job is basically to help you curate your event. So you give them all the information. Here's my speaker headshot and bios, and here's the description for my sessions. And then they go in and input everything onto the platform for you. So if you're working with like a smaller team and like, maybe you're like, oh my God, I wish I had somebody to bounce ideas off of, like we got you covered. It's really full service. And those would be the add-on services. But like I said, all the features, the gamification, the advanced analytics, interactive breakout rooms, yada, yada, that's all included in the package pricing. And there's a bunch of packages. It just depends on how many attendees and how many events you decide to run in your year.
Those services, I'm telling you, planners are so happy about them. Even if you are really like, you know what you're doing, planners are so busy, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Like I have enough trouble getting it all organized in, you know, folders and in my Excel, and then you have to import everything. It's just so.
We live off of Excel at EVENTMOBI. You're just like, you send it all to us and we organize it all for you. And it's again, that extra peace of mind. Because I'm sure a lot of planners, and what we hear anyways, it's like you're a one-person team, and it gets hectic to say the least.
We know how that feels. All right. So you guys definitely want to contact EVENTMOBI if you are interested. The whole point of the showcase is to give you kind of a taste, to learn enough about the company to say, that looks really interesting. I want to learn more. So now you need to just contact them directly. Katrina is here. She also mentioned that she has Tyler and Blythe in the chat, right? And so you can chat, if you're in the Facebook group, you can chat with them. Otherwise, please reach out to them directly, sales@eventmobi.com. Check out their website. If you go to techsytalk.com/showcase, you'll see their little description and links to their website and all their social. And of course, we will be sharing this post showcase as well. So thank you so much. Before we go, I just posted. Katrina is correct. Our servers are hosted in the USA using Amazon Web Services. We also have a lot of features that allow you to not have to depend on Zoom, such as those native breakout rooms that you were talking about. So glad we could squeeze that answer in there.
Yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you, Blythe, coming to rescue.
That's teamwork.
I have to mention too that if you go to eventmobi.com/virtual events masterclass, that's where we run all of our masterclasses, and we keep all of our masterclasses on demand. So if you're ever looking for any like kind of help or information or resources, like I said, eventmobi.com/virtual events masterclass, and you'll have access to a whole bunch of things in there too.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time, Katrina. I love learning a little more about EVENTMOBI.
Thank you so much, Liz. This was fun.
Yes.
Next time, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Okay. So we are moving along, learning about more companies. Now, there are so many virtual platforms out there and people doing cool things. And, you know, as much as I have seen them, there are still so many that I'm just learning about. So one that I just learned about that I'm really excited about is called Unbridled. I met them through the Event Leadership Institute that we did recently. We did an event with them called Event Leaders Live, and Unbridled participated. I learned a little bit about their platform and very excited to learn more. And I like to mention, they also have, I'm sure they'll talk about it, but they also have some other really unique services that were amazing. So I'll let Tim talk a little bit more about that. Let me bring him on here. Hi, Tim.
Hey,
how are you?
Hey, Liz. Good to see you. I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I'm so glad we've been connected. And, you know, even at this point, it's fairly like, you know, we need to get our clients to use you and really go deeper, but really excited to learn a little bit more and share Unbridled with our audience. I'm going to kind of turn your slides on, and you let me know when you want to go through them. I'm controlling everything in the back end, which I know a lot of event professionals hate, but
it's okay.
It's a little easier with this fast paced. So I'll let you do that. And then I'll come back on. I'll have a few questions for you and we can roll from there. Sound good?
Awesome. That sounds great. Yep.
Right.
So hi, everybody out there in the interwebs. It's nice to meet you. My name is Tim Woodring. I'm the Chief Solutions Officer at Unbridled. And a lot of my role has to do with telling our story and then also helping our clients craft their story and bring their events to life, whatever those may be. So Unbridled is a full-service event production company with a flexible, values-driven approach toward crafting experiences that connect companies with their people. And we're all under one talented roof. That idea of connecting companies with their people is our purpose and our reason for being. We believe that it's a really important purpose, especially today, in which the world is moving in this new sense of normal and safety is at stake. And still wanting to connect with companies and their attendee base, whoever that may be, whether that's representatives, whether that's employees, whether that's a user group, whoever your people are, and facilitating those connections. And being purpose-driven in that sense means that we move beyond just a conversation around platforms or just a conversation around services to really understand how to broker and build those connections. So you can go to the next slide. So how that plays out is through a number of ways. So as Liz was mentioning, we are both a service company and a platform provider, builder, et cetera. So from a service side, we are truly full service, and that is 100% in-source and 100% fee transparency. So when you work with us, you're always going to know where our margins are, what our service fees are, et cetera. That includes project management, per person event management. It includes event design and strategy and how we're building the event, whatever that may be, creative and content, which includes designers. We have a full presentation design team of traditional PowerPoint designers, motion designers, and 3D designers. We do video and motion with live action and longer form motion pieces. We also do live event production. So we have executive producers, technical directors, project managers. We don't own our own equipment because we don't always believe that's in the client's best interest, but sourcing it locally and making sure that's competitive is normally where we find the best pricing. Then event technology expertise. We have event technologists and event strategists on staff. And then we also do travel and transportation. We have an in-house travel agency, do ground transportation for large groups, et cetera. So all of those, that's kind of a full service approach, but it's also what we call fluid spectrum. So that's really more in today's world of events in which, there's this spectrum between in-person events and virtual events with hybrid in between there. And those are the continents of events, but getting into the countries and the cities and the counties and the neighborhoods of events is where, an in-person event could be 10,000 people or a 50-person incentive meeting that is highly curated and very bespoke. And so we are fluid spectrum too. So we do a number of events. We'll talk about that in a second, but it is in all of these different categories. And then finally, as it relates to technology, we have a really flexible stack. So we have an in-house app an in-house event platform that we use, but we also work with a number of platforms. And so we're just on the line with EVENTMOBI. We've used EVENTMOBI for several platforms. We've used Intrado for several platforms. We use Cadence for several platforms. We've used, the list goes on, Crowd Compass for so many things. And then a lot of the add-on things between Gatherly and Wonder and Slido and Mentimeter and whatever it may be, because our purpose transcends, a singular platform. And we really believe about connecting companies with their people, however that may be and whatever the needs are. And so that means that we have to be flexible in whatever stack of solutions we bring to bear within any event, whatever the type of event it is. So you can go to the next slide. So that often starts with services. As you can see on this top row, these are the things that relate a little bit more to project management and event management. All of these services are in-house. We have around 100 employees with expertises across the board within events. And so, these are people that will walk through the whole process with you. And so, project planning and logistics, from the design of your event, sourcing hotels, moving through the execution and budget management into managing those attendees, building your registration out. We do a lot in Cvent, but we also work in a ton of other platforms. And I love that the market is opening up for more registration pathways, and a lot of the all-in-one solutions that are out there are really great ways to build registration pathways. And then event technology, deciding on the applications and building them up as well. And then travel and transportation, as I mentioned. And then there's this other path around, what is the story that you're telling with the event? Why are you gathering people? What do you want to deliver? That goes into, the planning of the ideas, the theme and logo development, marketing communication strategy, how we activate that content through copywriting, storytelling, speech writing, video production and motion graphics, like we did for the Event Leaders Institute event, where we built out a show opener. We do lots of things to activate content, bring excitement, and bring the story to life, including digital and social media. We'll work with you to build out campaigns, communication, to extend the life cycle of your event, both pre, during, and after the event, including event app management. And then the production, bringing everything together. We do stage design, we do the installation, signage installation, set installation, et cetera, the show flow and technical direction and management, and audiovisual fulfillment, where we do contract out a lot of the kind of A1s, A2s, more the technical roles. Our staff is the one that runs the show and the actual kind of production, executive production of the show. So that's from a services expanded side. As far as our impact and size, you can see we have communities across the US, 120 full-time team members, 85% retention. Why that's important is because in a industry of higher turnover, you want team members that are with you, that understand your program year over year, and that you can count on, depend on, build relationship with a 4-year average tenure. We also have a unique business model that models our values-driven approach, where 20% of our net profits are given back to charity. We've given over $4 million since our inception in 2001. 20% is stored up. It means we have over $2 million in retained earnings. That means we don't have to make decisions quarter to quarter. It allowed us to endure and navigate this pandemic in a different way, where we moved even more aggressively into development and into servicing virtual events. And then the rest is given oftentimes to multiply our base. We produce over 400 events a year, ranging in size from 20 people, a lot of those incentives, or small regional meetings, to 20,000 attendees. We've even done live broadcasts of 60,000 plus. Our average size, though, is around 500 to 2,000. We'll talk about that a little bit later. As far as our industry mix, it's 60% pharma, biotech, or device companies. But we also do a lot in financial services, fintech and tech, retail and restaurants, a number of restaurant brands, and then other things like direct sales and other businesses out there in different industries. Let's keep going. So next, I'll take you to our digital event platform. So this is an all-in-one event platform for virtual, hybrid, or in-person events. It came out of this need. When you think about the word unbridled, it evokes this sense of being free to run, free without boundaries, without being slowed down, without a bit around your mouth and pulling you one way or another. And when we first got into Q1, Q2 of last year, we had built a gamification platform and some ways to extend mobile apps. But we kept, a lot of the conversations at that time were around, what event platforms are out there. And our clients kept coming to us and saying, we really haven't found anything that we could build custom to our needs. A lot of it felt as if, you really had to build according to those needs, or had problems even getting availability with the platforms because so much demand was coming on several of the leaders in the space. And they wanted to really build custom events based on their needs, rather than based on what the platform offered and the functionality that it had, or it was just price prohibitive for them to build a platform on some of these as it relates to costs. And so we started to build an event platform and launched it within a couple months of that time. And since then, we've produced over 200 events on it. It's really designed for customization for internal events, often that are between 100 to 2,000 people. We've done things up to 5,000 and anywhere in between there. But in that space, we really feel like there's a niche in which the meeting planner, with some of their smaller meetings, feels neglected and feels like that, they don't necessarily need all of the functionality for what might be a more external event, where networking is a big part of it, sharing contact information, doing one-on-one brain dates, things like that. But instead, they want a branded experience that they can really customize to their needs. And so our platform really is catered towards that. We also do customer support from our employees, by our employees, on-site chat that you can go into. You can learn more about this at virtual.unbridled.com, where you can sign up very quickly and do a self demo of it. But I'll talk about some of the functionality next. So if you could go to the next slide. As far as features, these are just, we're doing a flyby real quick, but personalizable agendas, so you can have multiple paths based on your attendees. We can import that from Cvent and use the path builds there, or we can do registration within the platform itself. Up next, session feature. So while you're watching the primary stream, might be considered like a general session, your agenda is connected with that, so attendees see what their next thing is. It gives it kind of keep it simple, stupid, usability to where they can just click on what's next coming up in their agenda. And that's customized. Those links are customized to them. You can also build out additional breakouts, things like that, in your video communication platform of choice. So if your organization uses Microsoft Teams, we can build breakouts in that. If it uses Zoom, WebEx, etc., we can use that. Attendee directory and chat is part of the platform. We use Vimeo live stream for most of the streaming that we do, but we can also integrate with other stream platforms. That's just the one that we prefer for a number of reasons. There's live tech support. These are from our employees. On-demand video galleries. There's an exhibit hall function and feature. There's 3D renders. You can do it either kind of in that 2D form or model more of the physical world with a 3D render, and that being navigable and clickable, kind of more like an Intrado approach or VFairs. And we could do those renders in-house. So we had a client who wanted to do a museum gallery where they walked from room to room and clicked on different videos in that. So we built out the 3D renders for that space. We created this virtual tool for them, et cetera. There's session replays and downloads. So as opposed to a resource, you can go play back anything. I think that's going to be a big part of how we're seeing events. As yes, it's a moment in time, but it's also an ongoing resource. And you can build all of this on a custom URL. And so if you wanted to produce the same event monthly from the same place, we can build that URL once and continue to produce events from there. There's integrations with Cvent, Slido, Gatherly, Wonder, and more. And so that's part of it, is really empowering meeting planners and organizations to make decisions based on what is going to be the best way to connect with my people and what do I need to deliver, and then allowing that to shape how the solution is built rather than the other way around. You can go to the next slide. So, part of that is producing cool things like this event that we did in Charlotte last year, over 10,000 in attendance. We took over a hotel and built out a whole news studio. We had jib cameras moving across the whole space. We had different spaces for conversations and anchored desks and et cetera. We're about to travel to Fort Mill to do something similar to it again. So some really cool ways that we are doing virtual event production right now, using a lot of what we've learned from like live TV and keeping a captive audience and building a host and bringing that all together with green screen and so many different things. If you dream it, we want to try and do it, whatever that may be, if it connects you with your people. So that's an example of some of our work. As far as what makes us unique, it's really what I've been talking to, is our purpose transcends event types and services to a genuine concern for people. So we hire people that understand connection, that desire connection, so that we can offer that to our clients as they're looking for that, because we really believe that events are the most catalytic force towards connection. And in a world where we're seeing a lot of disconnection, whether it's employees feeling disengaged in their work, it's so much change and the needing to understand, what's the strategy going forward? How are we going to work in this new world, et cetera? We think that events are a really critical aspect of that, no matter how they occur, no matter what the format is. And we want to dream with you of what that could be. And that dreaming has to do with not just our services, but also having a really broad knowledge of platforms and technology and being platform agnostic, because there are some platforms that are really great for your solution and that in mind. And sometimes that means it's our platform. Other times it means it's not. And so I think that that's what makes us unique, is being really oriented around our purpose. Okay, that was all I got.
That was a lot. I mean, I know a lot of companies, when they do demos, I'm not exactly sure how it works with you guys, but it's like at least an hour. Yep. And you have 8 minutes to pull it all together. So that was really, really interesting and helpful, though. I'm going to kind of cue the audience. If you're watching and have any questions, now's your time to put them in. But let me dive in with a few things. So first of all, I mentioned when I introduced you about the motion graphics that you did for the Event Leaders Live. And so you guys did kind of a show opener. And, I have a few comments for it. You mentioned it briefly, but just a few things to add. Really, your team is amazing. And as I hear you talk about the values-driven way that you hire your team and the way that everything works, it makes a lot of sense to me. It was really, here's like a few ideas that we have, and then you come back with a draft. And I was like, how the heck did I do that? And I think for a virtual event, in that case, it was a virtual event. We played the show opener. It really gives a different level of production quality. Totally. And I think, what you were showing on this previous slide, let me just go back here. This to me is what a lot of event organizers are now thinking about doing, is not just the in-person experience, but how do we do everything at a more TV quality production? And I know for a lot of planners, that's just overwhelming because they don't have
how do we even do that? Sure.
Yeah. So it's super service-based, which I really like. one question that I had for you is about this customization. You talked about, sometimes it's your platform, sometimes you guys are working with other platforms. Like I've never heard of a company that's doing that, who's like, if it's not our platform, you have to go find somebody else to help you. But
Sure.
I'm assuming it's because of all these other services that you offer that you're able to be more flexible and really like work with different companies.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's the same reason philosophically that we don't own all the equipment, the projectors, the LED screens, et cetera, because, when we really look at it, if we owned the gear, we'd want to sell you what we have. And try and convince you that that's in your best interest. And maybe it would be, and maybe there's some cost advantage to owning the gear and kind of cutting out some of the compounding markups that could take place. But, really allowing it to be more about the client and how they experience it, which is why, we do 100% transparency in our fees, et cetera, because that's how you feel unbridled. You feel unbridled when you have the information, you see, that we're operating in your best interest, and not necessarily our own. And so similar from a platform standpoint, we really love a lot of the platforms out there. I think what Swapcard's doing from a ongoing, social media platform that kind of crosses events and whatnot is really unique, but for some events, that's not going to be the right fit. And I think,
sure.
What we've heard from our clients, a lot of which are, meeting planners for corporations that have internal events. There is this gap where, they're kind of with some of their smaller events or more regular events, national sales meetings, regional meetings, et cetera, sales kickoffs, launch meetings for products, et cetera. They don't necessarily need all of those bells and whistles, but they want a branded experience that's secure, that is customized to them, and they kind of feel oftentimes a little neglected by a lot of the platforms out there, or just that they're cost prohibitive, And so
sure.
I think that, that's really where we've felt like it's continued to be in the best interest of our clients to build a really suited platform for that.
Yeah, I mean, if ever there was a time when organizations were really needing to focus on their internal employees,
exactly,
with people working remote and coming back to work, back to the office, and there's just a lot of talk about how you bring people together across the world when you have a global company, but also all these different changes that have happened.
New habits, totally.
So tell me a little bit about the pricing structure. What do people need to know? Because I mean, obviously, I would imagine it's based on what exactly they're hiring you for. But
absolutely, it's so hard to provide that. And, the fear is that you don't really have apples to apples with any comparison out there. But I think that you can generally think of the platform around $10,000, and then from there, based on size, there is some attendee cost that is around scalability, whether that's streaming, and then features and functions are really a la carte from there. There are a number of core features that come with the platform that will give you, if you want to produce an internal event with general sessions and links to breakouts and personalized agendas, that'll give you that. But the more pathing you add, the more features and functions and integrations you add, you're going to add costs on top of that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So that does not include service, I should say. It does include building the platform and the services around it, but not necessarily an opening video and things like that. I mean, the creative itself is, is really handled based on the needs.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually just talked to a client this morning that I think you and I need to talk about. Oh
yeah, let's do it.
All right. So how should people contact you if they want to learn more about Unbridled?
Yeah, so sales@unbridled.com is a general email. You can email me though, twoodring@unbridled.com. I'd love to connect with you and find out more about, what you guys are needing and how we might work with you in some way. And so that's another way to get in touch with us. You can go to unbridled.com. If you want to just learn more about us kind of on your own and go through some of the stuff there that we've got work there. We've got a number of articles and resources for download there. And so there's some really great information that would give you a little bit more about our services, point of view, and the platform. You go to virtual.unbridled.com. Again, you can just sign up for that and take your own tour of it.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much, Tim, for your time today and for sharing all of this. I'm excited for our audience to learn more about you guys.
Thank you. And let's chat soon.
Yeah, definitely. Okay. All right. Take care. All right. So we are moving on. Number 3 out of 4 companies. And we've already talked about such cool stuff. So I'm really excited to dig in. If you guys attended our Fastlane event in May, or maybe you just heard about it, we had the opportunity to work with a really cool company called Twine to add this networking experience. And all I hear from planners is people talking about how, attendees feel disconnected. There are some kind of like weird things people are doing to try to get people to network, but networking is one of those key things I know planners are trying to solve. So let me introduce Lawrence Coburn, co-founder of Twine. Hi, Lawrence. How are you?
Hey, Liz. How's it going today?
Good. So I'm already a huge fan of Twine, but I'm sure that there are people who are watching who haven't heard of you guys yet. I'm not sure how that's possible, but it's a big industry. So I'm excited to talk. I figure we can keep it a little more conversational if that's okay with you. But can you tell people a little bit more about Twine, what it is?
Yeah, sure. So you know what? I'm actually going to start from a tweet that I just saw. Nick Borelli just posted. He's on the ground in Las Vegas at MPI WEC, and he posted something really subtle and interesting that kind of hit home for me. And I'll read it to you all. But what he says is, the first in-person event in over a year. I'm hanging out in the hallways. I miss the hallways more than the content. Hashtag WEC Vegas. And so I thought that was so subtle and good. And I'll give you kind of the segue into what Twine is working on. Well, Twine is trying to bring that hallway vibe to your virtual or hybrid event. So I really enjoyed hearing the Unbridled pitch, and I've been following closely what companies like Hopin are doing and Swapcard. And these are sort of all-in-one services. They're bringing a lot to the table. That's not what Twine does. Twine only does one thing, and that is we try and bring the magic of those serendipitous conversations that used to happen in the hallway, the elevator, the bar, to your virtual or hybrid event.
So tell me a little bit more about how that works, because Anne was saying what kind of weird things. I'm seeing all kinds of tools. I won't name any names, but where, at least as an introvert myself, you kind of go in and it's like, what am I doing and where am I clicking? And this doesn't feel like networking. It feels like eavesdropping on other people's conversations. And there's some funky tools out there. Some of them are cool. So what's unique about Twine? What are you guys doing that's different in the networking space?
Yeah, maybe we can play the video just for a few seconds and kind of ground people in how the experience works. Do you want to go ahead and hit play? So let me talk over the top here. So what you're watching is a Zoom. You have a couple of folks talking on a Zoom, and they're going to do a handoff right into a Twine networking experience. So someone just dropped the Twine link into the Zoom chat. The attendees tap on that link. There's a quick audio visual AV check. You can check your speakers, make sure you have the right settings set up for your audio and your visual. And then there's a Twine matching algorithm. First, we deliver what's called an opening act. This could be a VIP at your event, an executive at your company, kind of set the context and the framing. And then the matching algorithm starts firing. And so what it's doing, it's looking for a conversation partner, a one-to-one conversation partner for you from available attendees. And when we find a match for you, we give you a little prompt like it's coming. You tap on ready, and then you get dropped into a one-to-one conversation. So we give you a little bit of a preview. So in this case, Zola, who's participating here, is being matched with Anne, who I'm sure many of you know. You get a little preview of the bio. You get a conversation starter. That is something that you can talk about to help eliminate the awkwardness a little bit. And then you're dropped into this one-to-one experience. So it's a little bit different than some of those spatial services out there. And like, we really love the experimentation that's happening from companies like Wonder and Remo. And there's lots of cool stuff happening. I would encourage you to try all of those services. We have a little bit of a different take. So we're more of a guided, choreographed experience where we give you a firm nudge to make sure that you're meeting people. And so the way this works as a planner, you can kind of set a couple of the parameters here. How long do you want these conversations to go for? What are the conversation starters? So you can insert from our library of like 300 conversation starters, or you can create content and questions around your event. So imagine people watching the keynote and then breaking out into a Twine to talk about the content of the keynote. There's a couple of other kind of fun little features here that I'll show you. First, that background image. We chose Las Vegas for this one because we're actually going to Las Vegas. I'm on a flight tomorrow. We're doing some stuff for MPI WEC, but that's customizable. So you can create a vibe. You can make it a lounge vibe, a beach vibe, but you can also create brandable assets. So imagine this being a sponsor sort of real estate that they can get their message across in front of highly engaged attendees. And so I'll pause there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's super interesting. I have a bunch of questions for you. What about, so this embeds into other platforms. I know you said this is solely focused on the networking. So someone might be using Swapcard or a different platform and then jump in here.
Yeah, that's right. So an easy way to think about us is like Slido for networking. And I really liked Slido for a long time. I like Peter, I like the team. They just made it so easy to work with different systems. And I remember when I was the CEO of Double Dutch, we had Q&A functionality within the Double Dutch platform. But if a customer wanted to use Slido, like we were all for it because we knew it was a good service. We knew they were focused only on doing that. So that's kind of what Twine is. So we don't care if you're using Swapcard, if you're using Swoogo, if you're using Splash, if you're using only Zoom, if you wanted to run a dedicated networking session just through a calendar invite, it doesn't matter to us. So we're investing lots of work in integrations and single sign-on and all that stuff. So really, we want to be the easiest part of your stack. We want to be the one thing you don't have to stress about. Let me give a little voiceover of what just happened. So Zola stayed in the networking room and then she got matched to the next partner. And as an attendee, you can stay in these rooms as long as you want. The matches keep coming. There's an easy way to send a digital business card across. There's a button right there with one tap. You can send your digital business card to the person on the other side. We also send out a trip report at the end. So we make it really easy as an attendee to follow the journey. And if you put 30 minutes into this thing, you're going to walk out with 5 or 6 solid new connections. And it's trackable. You get reports and analytics on it. So there's just a lot of fun stuff you can do when it's digital and not actually in the hallway.
Yeah, that makes sense. If attendees have questions, please put them in the chat. But I do see Phyllis has a question. She wants to know, how long does it take to get connected to somebody?
Yeah, that's a good question, Phyllis. So if you have at least 20 people in your group, the wait time is seconds. It's usually under 10 seconds. And we actually have a new release we're announcing on Thursday in Las Vegas. And I'll give a little preview, but we're introducing a new format, which is the concept of a small group twine. So historically, twines have been like a twine, like two pieces of thread wrapped together. It's a one-to-one conversation, but we're rolling out a room experience that allows you as the planner to set, you want groups of up to 5 people. So it could be 3, it could be 4, it could be 5 people. And so that's going to make the wait time even shorter. So you'll be able to kind of drop into existing rooms quickly, almost like you're walking up to a group of folks that are having a coffee in the hall, kind of like what's happening in Las Vegas right now at WEC. So that's going to be getting announced officially in just a couple of days. But yeah, the wait time is seconds. The more people you have, the thing is just going. In fact, we're working on ways to try and slow it down, to give people a pause between these conversations. So we're adding the ability to sort of jot down some notes about the people that you met, to send a high five, like little simple gestures like that as you take a breath before your next conversation starts.
Yeah, I've experienced that. You're like moving so fast, it gets connected, and then you're like, oh, into the next one. Noreen would like to know, is it just an external link? Can you embed this into other platforms? How does that work?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the process to spin up a networking room is really easy. It's under 60 seconds. And so a networking room generates a link, but it also generates embed code. So if you want to copy that code and paste it right into your virtual event platform, you can do that. You can paste it into Swoogo. You can paste it into Splash. We also have a really simple way to deliver single sign-on, where basically through the URL, through the Twine room URL, you can pass parameterized information across, and that makes it so attendees don't have to kind of log into a separate system. It's really, really easy. It's just one tap and you're into the Twine networking room.
Yeah. So, I mean, going back to your Nick quote that the tweet that you talked about in the beginning, I think this is going to be so interesting, because what I've been hearing is that as people are going back to in person, a lot of people I imagine there's really clear ways that you guys are using Twine in hybrid and everyone's talking about, how do we bring those audiences together? Does that look like in your, either now or in your roadmap, does that look like people in their hotel rooms and people at home kind of connecting with each other, or are there other ways you see this working?
Yeah, that's the $1 billion question right there. And I actually think, as exciting as it is, like California, I live in San Francisco, California just opened up yesterday and the city was a party. Like the bars were full, the bartenders made more money than they have in months and months and months. The parks were full, everyone out. It's exciting. But we're also entering into a new chapter for the event industry where there's a lot of unknowns. Like we don't know what attendees are going to want to do now that we're mostly vaccinated, and we can choose. Do we want to tap on a link or do we want to jump on a plane? And so we have a couple of theses about this. We have to. We're entrepreneurs. We have to make some bets. Yeah. One of the bets is that over time, you are going to see the virtual audience become larger than the in-person audience. It feels obvious, right? Like there's a lot more friction to get in person. Another bet that we're making is that most event planners with the means are not going to dial off the virtual experience. Why? Because the reach is so much better. The accessibility is so much better. The analytics and reporting is so much better. So we really believe we are heading towards a hybrid future. Now, in the world of networking, the more reach, the more people, the better. And the reason for that is because the matches can be better, right? If there's only 3 people at an event, the odds of a perfect match for you are low. But if there's 20,000 people, the chances are, with the right software, we should be able to help you find the right person to talk to. And as a networker, as someone who has to network for their job, like I want the best match. I don't only want the match that's available. So between those bets that we're making, we have the case for, even as an in-person attendee, wanting to connect with the entire pool of people that are there. And so maybe initially that's in the hotel room. Maybe it's on a mobile version of Twine that allows you to kind of dip in as you're walking from one convention center to the other. But we also have a couple of other ideas for sort of lightweight product gestures that are actually in-person experiences, but we can't talk about those yet, unfortunately. So Liz, you'll be the first to know when we roll those out.
Yeah. Make sure I get that press release. Super interesting. Okay. So one thing that I didn't see in the video, but I've experienced when I used Twine myself, was kind of that end piece where you then kind of almost like rate your matches that you just had. And I know as someone who goes to a lot of networking events, I found that super helpful. So you can kind of say like, okay, I've met this person. They were great. I just don't want to be connected with them again at a future event because we know each other or because we work at the same company or whatever you want to say. To what extent have you seen that being used? And to what extent are you guys like really curating these matches, or is it kind of like random, like whoever shows up is showing up? I can see the use of this over time. You go to 10 of these, you start to meet newer and better people, is what I imagine.
Yeah, it's a great point. So there's a kind of a founding story there as well. So one of the co-founders of the company is a woman. Her name is Diana Rao. She's done a lot of networking, and she's been in uncomfortable networking experiences. So from day one, we wanted to build in some like safety tools for all of our users. And one of those safety tools is the ability to say, after a conversation, of course, you can always exit a conversation mid-flight, but the ability to say, I don't ever want to be matched with this person again. And it might be safety. It might be, I know them already. We don't need to catch up on this channel. It might be a lot of reasons, but we don't ask you any questions. You have that sort of veto power for all future Twines across all events that we power. Like, I never want to see this person again. I kind of wish that existed for in-person.
I was just about to say the same thing.
I don't know the tech that would enable that. So it started as sort of safety, but it's actually become a helpful thing where if I talk to someone all the time, like I don't want to waste my one shot with someone I'm going to talk to anyway later in the day, kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
And so you asked about kind of how the matching works. So today it's very much about serendipitous matching. So what we're finding, and it's funny, when we went to market, we built this sophisticated matching engine. But what we found is that in the world of virtual only, people would carve out time for networking and they didn't want to wait around for the perfect match. They'd rather just kind of serendipity, like the person you're in the elevator with, like it's just like unexpected, unplanned, like unexpected moments of joy. And so for now, that's the way the algorithm works. We're optimizing for short wait time to the question we had previously. So we're going to get you a match quickly. And the idea is that there's enough like-mindedness from people going to the same event that all matches are going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
That being said, we're collecting a ton of data right now. We know ratings data, just like an Uber driver, right? We know ratings data on every conversation that happens on our platform. And so the reason to capture this kind of data is to make the matching algorithm smarter. And so over time, especially as we start to look at things like asynchronous matchmaking, you're going to see a much more intentional match come out of Twine.
That's cool. Well, we're almost out of time. Can you tell us a little bit about your pricing structure and how you want people to contact you to learn more?
Yeah, sure. So the pricing's on the website, so super transparent. Our first tier starts at $2,000 for an annual contract. That gets you 250 unique attendee licenses. You can throw as many events, as many networking rooms as you want with no additional cost. And until you use up those licenses, you can just keep using us. And then when you run out, you can buy more. So really straightforward. The more licenses you buy, the lower the effective cost per attendee becomes. In terms of getting in touch, I like to talk directly to planners because we're still building products. So the best way is to reach out to me, Lawrence@twine.nyc, or you can reach out to Ann, who many of you know, ANH@twine.nyc.
Awesome. I mean, where else do you get people's direct email addresses? It's like demos you're sitting on with salespeople who never want to talk to you again except to sell the product. So thank you so much. As everyone knows, huge fan of Twine. Really love what you guys are doing and excited to see you guys expand. So let me know when those new features come out. Really excited.
Sounds great. Thursday. So I'll send you the special news first.
Awesome.
Thanks. Bye,
Good
Liz.
luck at WEC too.
Bye.
All right, take care. Okay, so we have been covering such great tools. We have one more, and you are not going to want to leave because this is super, super interesting stuff. Let me bring on Vivian Chan from Next Tech AR. Hi, Vivian.
Hi, everyone.
Thank you so much for joining today. We are talking about augmented reality, which I am very excited about as a topic. What I love about this particular showcase, we've done this is our third time doing it. It used to be just like platform after platform after platform, and that's cool. But now there's just so many unique and interesting things that people are doing to enhance that experience or to, change things up. You guys at Next Tech are doing some really cool things. So I'm going to hand it off to you and the presentation you put together, and then I'll pop back on. Sound good?
Sounds great. So thanks everyone for sticking around. My name is Vivian Chan, and I'm the Global Head of Digital at Next Tech. I'm proud to say that I've been working in events longer than I have in tech. I've been an event planner myself for over 30 years. I'm very involved in my community and with different associations in the augmented reality and virtual reality space. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do now and a little bit about what we can do in the future. And I think what's happening right now is so exciting. I've booked my next event in September. Like, I'm going to see humans and clink glasses and all that. And I've been hearing a lot of this notion of hybrid, but I'm going to take it a step further because I think that the real evolution of events is going to be about creating experiences, not hybrid. Hybrid is a component of that, but there's so much more that you as event producers, organizers, and experts are bringing to the table. So if we go to the next slide. So here is the formula for what makes a brilliant experience. And I would even venture to say it's a physical and digital experience. So there's a couple of animations there. So Liz, if you can just click through them. This is what the formula looks like. So first and foremost, the first piece is really, again, you've got your in-person events. I think that there is tremendous pent-up demand. I think that in-person events will provide the value that they always did, but there's going to be, huge demand for in-person events. However, with some capacity restrictions, with some uncertainty that we're having right now, plan B is also to make it sure that it's hybrid so that you've got a virtual portion of that event for folks that are maybe not ready to travel yet, or you've got capacity restrictions, and a physical event. Hybrid, we believe, is going to be a viable option, for the next couple of years. Another way to look at hybrid is that you're able to like literally double your reach or triple your reach. We're seeing that with a lot of event organizers. But the downside, and this is the thing that we need to talk about, is double the work. So you need to make sure that you have extra team and capacity and resources to do that. And so we realize that for the near term, you may have to choose just physical only and virtual or hybrid. With that said, augmented reality services both physical and virtual events. So we're a phenomenal tool for storytelling. So augmented reality is an incredible tool for you to be able to create very special sponsored moments at your next event. And we're going to talk a little bit about applications of how that's going to work. The other piece that we heard last year or the last 2 years from event organizers is that you got to give us extra ways to expand our sponsorship perspectives. We've got to look at extra ways to manage the doubling of costs of moving to hybrid. And so we've got some cool examples of where you can use augmented reality for advertising and e-commerce to, again, help fund and create an extra revenue stream for your events. So with hybrid, augmented reality, and a monetization model, this is what we believe is the new digital experience. So let's kind of break it down and talk a little bit about some of the cool and valuable applications of augmented reality. So first of all, augmented reality is really, the definition of it is that you're able to layer digital information over the real world. And AR captures people's attention. We've seen it time and time again at Next Tech. We've seen 4 to 9x better engagements when you bring in augmented reality compared to video. People are zoomed out right now. And while video is okay, there isn't a wow factor, and it's a storytelling medium that's been around for probably a long, long time. So what people are seeing, and this is a report from Deloitte, is that AR delivers 2 times more visual attention compared to a non-AR equivalent, namely video or even photos. And brands are more trusted when people are able to have a more distinct experience. So let's talk about different kinds of augmented reality in the next slide. So there are 3 kinds of augmented reality experiences that you literally can layer into your event as a storytelling moment. You can layer people, which are human holograms, to your event. You can put in a place, so someone can literally portal into a destination or a facility. And then you can also showcase reports using augmented reality. Let's show you each of and every one of them. So the first one is the human hologram. This is really profound in that, imagine you being in 5 places at once. One of the things that we can't scale is being able to travel around the world and be 5 places at once. This is an example of our CEO, Evan Gappelberg, doing a holographic presentation in 5 different living rooms. One of them is even on a little rattan chair over there. And so he was literally able to give a global keynote in multiple locations, create an Instagrammable moment, and present to folks on an update from Next Tech AR. And it was a huge success, and we're going to start to scale these activations with different events and event producers. In addition, human holograms are really important in changing how people learn. So for instance, if you're an association event and you need to do some certifications and you need to show sort of laboratory or scientific equipment, using augmented reality is a great way to kind of create that experiential learning. Next Tech AR currently is partnered with Ryerson University. We have developed all their chemistry and biology science labs using augmented reality. Over 5,000 students in first and second year sciences are using our augmented reality learning. And so how could you create a wow factor or a differentiator in your learning events and activities? If you go to the next slide, we're going to talk a little bit about also how portals enable you to change the way we live. So imagine promoting your city or promoting your facility using a augmented reality portal. Site visits have traditionally been the main piece for event planners to pick a site. It's going to be a little more harder to do site visits now because there's so many travel restrictions and quarantining requirements. So what if you could portal in and do a site visit of a facility? Or you could even start to show people like a prize. Like if your prize was a vacation in Miami, you'd be able to create literally an augmented reality portal hologram. We used portals to help people understand Atlantic Canada lobster. So this was shown at a agriculture event in Japan and Korea, where we brought everyone into a lobster fisherman's boat, and they had a day in the life of their boat that was beamed into their home. And it's a really wild kind of activation because you see that door, that's like the room that you walk in, and then you're in the fisherman's boat. So there's again like a wow, I kind of was there for a moment. If you go to the next slide, the other piece about augmented reality is that you could also enable and change the way you shop. So for instance, if you're running an event and it's got a consumer goods show, for example, you could provide sponsors with augmented reality 3D products where there could be a marketplace where they could go look at 3D products. They could QR code those 3D products on their booths, so that they could even try it physically at the event. And again, studies have shown that people who are able to kind of like bring home the product and be able to try it in their living room are about 20 to 50% more likely to buy that solution. And so we've been seeing huge success by using augmented reality as part of the marketing collateral, part of the experiential collateral, to help kind of convert product sales. And so is that something you can offer to your sponsors? Is that something you could layer in to your next event? If you go to the next slide. So we talked about experiences. We have worked with over 1,000 different events in the last 2 years. And Restaurants Canada is an example of that. We're starting to build events with them where it's going to be another trend that we're seeing right now is that events are no longer a 3-day moment in time. We're seeing events being this 24/7 marketplace of bringing people together. Similar to what Lawrence talked about, it is really about networking. How do we bring communities together to experience learning, to experience new product releases, to experience entertainment together? And so we're excited to work with Restaurants Canada into a longer term marketplace, 365-day experience portal with them. So happy to take more questions on that. So my final plug is that if you want to learn more about Nextech AR's technology, we're doing some really innovative things in digital experiences, education technology, AR e-commerce, and even NFTs. If you want to get a 101 on that, we're launching an event called Live Now on June 29th. And our special guest will be Gary Vee, who is just, a celebrity personality, but someone who's really gets tech and has been wildly successful in that. And then the last slide that I also want to plug is I have launched my own channel as well. So one of the things about technology is that how does it impact people in human ways? And so www.vivianchannel.com, I'm going to be hosting shows around augmented reality and helping educate people on what this technology can and can't do. And so if you want to even take a photo of those QR codes, you can even try some of those augmented reality activations right now. So thank you very much, and would love to take some questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If there are questions from those of you watching, please put them in the chat and we'll make sure to get to them. AR, it's one of those things that I think, to your earlier point, it is so robust, and it makes what a lot of us have been doing for the last year and a half or so much more impactful. It's great to deliver the content virtually. It's great to be able to connect people through networking. But these augmented reality experiences really give people the chance to feel like they're there in person. It even enhances an in-person attendee's experience. And then when you add that third component of the shop, I mean, there are so many brands who have been kind of missing that piece. Everyone's talking about, and there was a question earlier, like, what can we be offering to our sponsors to get them happy? Because they're missing all of that connection that they used to get with their products on the trade show floor, or, I just think it's so important. I also have Diana from our team texting me about this event, which looks so great. We've been looking into NFTs ourselves and just been so interested in that space. I know Gary Vee launched like a community of people using NFTs. It seems I've been watching him. It's one of those things that's like a little far out, but I'm still trying to understand it. So definitely everyone check out this event. I'm going to come to you first with one of the questions I think a lot of people would, I just think it's on top of mind, which is, what does the pricing look like for augmented reality? I think a lot of people expect it's like six figures and up, and it's just out of the range. I know that's not the case.
Yeah, it's such a good question, Liz. Thank you for bringing that up. It's not as expensive as you think. It starts at $2,500 for activations currently, but we're very excited. I would say that in the next 6 months, that price point will continue to evolve, because we're starting to build some do-it-yourself activations as well. And so if you want sort of studio quality, perfection quality, $2,500 US and up is a sort of the starting point. But very soon you're going to be seeing more do-it-yourself tools to kind of build those holograms yourself. So I think over time, this price point will continue to kind of face a lot of pressure to go down a little bit. But yeah, that's a starting point right now. And what's the great thing is that in the events that we've launched augmented reality holograms as sponsored moments, people were selling those sponsored moments for about $10,000. So that gives you a 4x return. And so really our guidance is use this as a sponsored moment, because sponsors think that it's kind of cool to be the wow factor at the event and the surprise moment at the event, and they'll pay for that.
Yeah, those holograms, talk about Instagrammable moments, right? Like people just want to share them like crazy. And I think even the $2,500 price point, I would imagine, is surprising to some people who are watching, just like didn't even know that was possible. Tell me a little bit more about kind of the technical know-how that's needed, right? So you guys obviously offer the service of helping people create these experiences. Does a person need to come into this knowing how to create a 3D experience? Like, so how do you guys help people with that?
Yeah, we make it as simple as possible. Literally, we will guide our clients on the filming process. There's a little bit of setup with green screen right now, but we'll even send you a green screen kit. We've been doing it for hundreds of activations, and literally it's a 2-page PDF on how to film, how to set it up, the green screen. And then what we do is we take all that content and then we convert it into this beautiful viewing experience. And so one of the things that, again, I know it sounds kind of nerdy, but with augmented reality, it's all about the occlusions and the lighting. So this sense of like scale and depth. And so that is something that Nextech has just mastered. I was just talking to one of our architects of augmented reality, and he came from the gaming industry. He was one of the makers of Mortal Kombat. And so he really understands depth and light. And so what our technology does is take that content and adjust the light, and it's basically a magic trick. Augmented reality is a magic trick. And so you basically magic trick that footage and make it feel like you're physically in someone's room, and the lighting will even adjust to that digital person in every different room. So it's pretty dynamic. It's not,
Wow.
Yeah, there's a lot of tech behind it.
This is the stuff I enjoy geeking out on.
Yeah.
But, I think, AR is one of those things. Like 5 to 10 years ago, it was just, you saw the hologram at one big splashy event a year, and it just seems so out of reach. But I think when you add in, the commerce piece that you're talking about and the sponsorship activations and some of the unique things that can be done, it makes a lot of sense for people to be integrating AR now. It's not necessarily an experience where you need, an Oculus headset. A lot of this is just run right from your phone. I want to make sure we zoom in on this a little bit so that people can go ahead and scan some of these experiences that you're highlighting. I know your website is a great place for people to learn more about you. Is that the best place that you would send people to kind of connect with Next Tech?
Yeah, go to Vivian's channel. I would say send me a note on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn is redthreads8. Just drop me a line and I can connect you to the right experts to kind of talk a little bit more about our hybrid event platform. So we also do hybrid event platforms, but and we do those really well. We've done over we've done hundreds of hybrid events and over 1,000 virtual events. So we absolutely have that platform. But one of the differentiating factors is that we're not just a virtual hybrid event company. We really think about crafting experiences, and the cherry on top is the augmented reality. So we do all of that plus AR.
Yeah, so I would really encourage people to learn more about the virtual platform as well. I think it makes sense, obviously, when it's all kind of like done under one house and it fits together and it makes sense together. But thank you so much for taking some time to talk to us about AR and really talk about how to make it something that makes sense for events right now. I hope everyone will start reaching out to you.
Great. Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to clinking glasses with everyone in person soon.
Yeah, my goodness, we're getting there soon, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vivian. We will definitely be in touch, and everyone should go to nexttechar.com to learn more. All right. So that is our showcase. This is the shortest one we've done. I started to think that maybe 8 to 10 companies is a lot, because even 4 to sit through is quite a lot. But I know that we have shared with you guys a few companies that are doing something really, really interesting and unique. So I hope you will check them out. We will be sharing all of this content on our blog. So we'll cut these into individual sessions, put them on our YouTube channel, and push them out on our blog. So if you missed anything, you'll be able to catch it. Please do share these videos, help us get the word out about these great companies, and please do, reach out directly to them. The goal of this is really to help them get some visibility and really to help connect you as the planner with better resources. So before I go, let me just remind you, if you missed it in the beginning, we did just launch our new community for event planners. So check it out. It's called The Collaborative. You can join at techsytalk.com/member. We will be making all of our recorded content to this, as well as our Techsy Talk Global Conference and our Fastlane Conference that we had in May. So all of our content will be available to you there, as well as great networking opportunities and the ability to really join tons of conversations. Like, we have so much planned. So please do join us at techsytalk.com/member. So great to see so many of you here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you all very soon. Have a great day, everyone.